The entire office went silent when my boss pointed at the exit and shouted, "Pack your desk! You're finished!" Every employee stopped working. Some looked away, others secretly pulled out their phones, hoping nobody noticed. My boss smiled like he'd just won the biggest battle of his career. He had no idea. In less than 48 hours, he wouldn't even be allowed inside the building. And the reason was sitting quietly inside my backpack. A single folder. Signed 5 years earlier. If you've ever watched someone abuse their power, only to see karma hit harder than anyone expected, you're going to love this story. Subscribe for more original revenge stories where patience beats anger every single time. Now, here's how everything fell apart. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm 36 years old, and for almost 9 years, I worked as a senior software engineer at a cybersecurity company called Sentinel Dynamics. When I first joined, there were only 12 employees. The office was tiny. Our conference room doubled as a lunchroom. Sometimes we'd stay until midnight fixing bugs before major product launches. We weren't just coworkers, we were building something together. The founder, Michael Turner, believed in rewarding loyalty. He couldn't always pay large salaries during those early years. Instead, he offered bonuses, stock options, and something even more valuable: trust. I believed in him, so I stayed. While other engineers left for companies offering twice the salary, I remained because I believed our technology would eventually change the industry. For years, it looked like I'd made the right decision. Everything changed after investors forced Michael to hire a new CEO. His name was Victor Kane. He arrived wearing expensive suits, driving a sports car that cost more than my first apartment. During his first company meeting, he stood on stage smiling confidently. "I'm here to take Sentinel Dynamics to the next level." Everyone applauded. I did too. At first, but within weeks, it became obvious Victor wasn't interested in understanding the company. He wanted quick victories, big headlines, quarterly profits. He treated experienced employees like obstacles instead of assets. The people who had actually built the company suddenly meant nothing, especially me. Victor loved public humiliation. If someone made a small mistake, he corrected them in front of everyone. If an employee offered a different opinion, he called them negative. If someone questioned one of his expensive ideas, they mysteriously disappeared from important meetings afterward. The office slowly changed. People stopped speaking honestly. Meetings became silent. Everyone nodded. Nobody challenged him anymore. Fear had replaced teamwork. I watched talented coworkers resign one after another. Each goodbye made the office feel emptier. Each resignation gave Victor even more confidence. He believed people were replaceable. He believed knowledge could simply be hired again. He was wrong. One Monday morning, Victor announced our biggest project yet: a government cybersecurity contract worth nearly $80 million. Everyone cheered. I didn't, because I'd spent the previous weekend reviewing the proposal. There was a massive security flaw buried inside the design. If we launched it, hackers could exploit the system within weeks. I politely raised my hand. "I think we need another security review." Victor looked at me like I'd interrupted a celebration. "You think, or you know?" "I've tested the architecture," I answered calmly. "I can show you the vulnerability." He laughed. Actually laughed. Incredible. He looked around the conference room. "Our engineer thinks he knows more than the executive team." Nobody laughed with him. That seemed to make him even angrier. After the meeting, several coworkers quietly thanked me for speaking up. One of them whispered, "You said what all of us were thinking." But nobody was willing to say it publicly. Everyone was afraid, including me. Not because I feared losing my job, because I feared watching years of hard work destroyed by someone's ego. That afternoon, I sent Victor a detailed 20-page report explaining every risk. I included diagrams, testing results, possible solutions, everything. He never replied. The next morning, I found my report sitting unopened in the office recycling bin. I stared at it for several seconds. Then I quietly picked it up. Something inside me told me I would need that report later. I just didn't know how soon. The following Friday started like any other. People shuffled into the office carrying coffee cups, pretending everything was normal. But the atmosphere felt different. Victor had called an emergency all-hands meeting. Nobody knew why. At exactly 9 o'clock, he walked into the conference room wearing a smile that immediately made my stomach tighten. He loved surprises, especially when someone else paid the price. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, today we're making some changes. He paced slowly across the room. Our company is entering a new era. We need employees who support leadership, not people who constantly create obstacles. Then he stopped directly in front of me. Daniel Hayes, stand up. Every eye in the room turned toward me. I slowly pushed back my chair. Victor folded his arms. You've questioned management repeatedly. You've delayed projects. And you've created unnecessary fear among the engineering team. I remained calm. I warned you about security risks. He smirked. No, you questioned my authority. The room became painfully quiet. Then came the words I never expected to hear. Pack your desk. You're fired. Not in private. Not with human resources. Right there. In front of nearly 80 employees. Someone near the back gasped. Another coworker quietly lowered his head. Nobody said a word. Victor pointed toward the door. You have 10 minutes. I don't want to see you in this building again. My face burned, not from anger, from humiliation. 9 years. Countless late nights, missed birthdays, canceled vacations, and this was how it ended. I nodded once. He understood. Victor looked almost disappointed. He had expected an argument, a scene, maybe even tears. Instead, I simply walked back to my desk. As I packed my things, several coworkers approached quietly. I'm so sorry. This isn't right. We know you were trying to help. I thanked each of them. Then I picked up the folder containing the security report Victor had thrown away. I slipped it into my backpack, along with one other document, a copy of patent number US 78431. The document nobody besides Michael and I had ever cared much about. 5 years earlier, during the company's struggling startup days, I developed a revolutionary encryption engine that became the foundation of Sentinel's flagship software. Michael had insisted my name remain on the patent alongside the company. It protects both of us, he'd said. At the time, I thought he was simply being generous. Now, those words echoed differently. By lunchtime, news of my firing had spread through the entire industry. Former coworkers began texting. Recruiters started calling. One message stood out. It was from Michael, the company's original founder.